in permutations, we mainly use spaces, right? We hardly ever use the formula for permutations. The opposite is true for combinations. In combinations, we are going to use our formula a lot. In fact, we're going to memorize our formula, we're going to notice some patterns within our formula, and we're going to use it a lot. One of the places that combination comes up a lot is in lotteries. So we're going to do this Keno lottery, which maybe you're not as familiar with. Maybe some more of you are familiar with Lotto 649 because you see the billboards up, or Lotto Max. So we're going to do that one as well. So in Keno lottery, you choose 20 numbers from 80. And so for combinations, we often use the word choose because it also starts with C to help us remember this. And this question does say, how many combinations of 20 numbers are possible? Well, we have 80 numbers. We want to choose 20 numbers. And so we write it right away in the notation of the formula. And one of the things that you're going to notice about your formula is if we plug things into the formula, this would be 80 factorial on the top. And on the bottom, the two numbers that end up on the bottom, one of them will be the 20, and the other one always will help add up to your original number. So our original number was 80, and if one of them is 20, 20 plus what is 80? That other number is going to be 60. So find your combination button on your calculator as well. And if we do 80 choose 20, we get a very large number. 3.5 times 10 to the 18. So if you were trying to choose the right 20 numbers from the 80 and get all 20 of them right, it's very, very unlikely because there's a lot of answers. So just for fun, doing a lottery that you might be more familiar with, because you hear of people winning Lotto 649 and they win $35 million or $20 million. I don't follow it that much because I do the math and I know that my chances of winning are so bad that, well, we'll talk about that. We'll talk about whether or not it's worth it to play the lottery. Okay. But first of all, Lotto 649. What you have to do, in order to win the big pot, you have to choose 6 numbers from 49. If you choose all 6 right, you win the 35 million. Unless somebody else also chooses those 6 numbers right, then you have to split the 35 million. Unless there's like 50 people that, and then you're like, I won the lottery and I got, $10 because there was 33.5 million people that also got it right. I think that happens in, there's a Jim Carrey movie where he becomes God. And he gets all these prayer requests by email, and so many people prayed to win the lottery, and he just answered yes to all emails. And so the next day, everybody won the lottery, but there was like 40 billion people that had requested that, so everybody went home with 5 cents or something crazy. Anyways, so as far as the notation goes, it's going to be 49 choose 6, and it's close to 14 million. Someone do it on their calculator. I'm going to see how close I have it memorized. Oh, I think I'm off by something. But how close is that? Let's find out. 13, math. So I was close. 983,816. Wow. Okay. To work on that number. So you have roughly a 1 in 14 million chance of winning. Okay? You want to see how likely that is? Here we go. Take out a coin and start flipping it. And if you can get heads 24 times in a row, or tails 24 times in a row, that is about, let's see, 2 to the power of 24 is 16 million. So if you get it 23 times in a row, don't do the next one. Go out and buy a lottery ticket. Now, I don't want you to go home and flip coins for the rest of your life. Because that, it's really, can you imagine how many times, like, how hard did that be? Like, oh, I'm on a run. Have you got 3 in a row yet? No. Okay. You don't have to guess it right. You just have to get the same thing in a row 23 times. And that would be roughly the same amount of times that it could work. Okay? Now, how is it then that's like, if that's so unlikely, why does somebody win? Well, if you start off with enough people buying tickets, then all of a sudden there gets a good chance that someone will win. And so that's what happens with the lottery. Usually there's about 14 million people that buy tickets. That doesn't guarantee that someone's going to get the right number, but it increases the chances that it will happen. And when nobody wins, what happens next week? It gets bigger. And then it gets bigger again. And eventually it gets to really big numbers, like anything over 30 million is considered a really big one. And over 50 million, like that's huge. So let's say it gets to 50 million. And you're like, I have to win. That is so much money. So you go to your bank. How much does it cost per ticket? I think it's $2. Let's say it's $2 a ticket. Again, I don't buy them because its chances of winning are so small. I spend my time flipping coins at home. Never has worked. So let's say it's $2 a ticket and the prize is 50 million. You can buy all the numbers. It's going to cost you how much money to buy all the numbers? 14 million times $2 a ticket, about $28 million. Guaranteed win. Right? This is a great idea. So you go to the bank and you say, okay, I need $28 million because I'm going to win the lottery. Okay? So some of you might think, well, one day I want to become a banker. So if one of my crazy students comes into your bank later on in life, you'll be like, yeah, I was in his class too. I'm not going to give you the money. But if you could get $28 million. You could buy all the tickets. You'd be at 7-Eleven for I don't know how long buying that many tickets. But you could do it. And you would be guaranteed to win. And so you're like, I've done the math. Why is this not a bad thing? I'm guaranteed to get 22 million unless someone else also wins. And if someone else also wins, then your 50 million gets cut in half. It's now 25 million. And now you're down $3 million. So that's the only, bad thing, which is a pretty bad, unless there's like 3 people that win, then everybody's getting about 17 million, then you're only down $11 million, right? And that's when you see the security guards at the bank, you know what they do after hours? They come after the people that owe them $17 million or $11 million or whatever. So you could technically guarantee that you win the lottery. I had a friend once who wanted to set up a website where it would be win the lottery for charity. So if you wanted to donate to the website, you could donate $2 and you would help buy a ticket. And he would have the website open for as long as it would take for enough people to donate $28 million. And then at that moment, he would go out, buy every ticket, and win the lottery when the lottery was large. And whatever money was won would go to whatever charity, and everybody who donated would have a chance to vote what charity they would like it donated to, and then that would all go to charity. His idea is, how long would it take to get random people to donate $28 million to you? 3 hours? No. 2 weeks? No. Years? Probably. Many, many, many years? Probably. And while he was waiting, he would use other people's money, put it in a bank account, and he would keep the interest. And so that's how he thought he would make his money, off other people's money. So if you ever start this, he never did this, but if you ever start this, right, you can pay me a portion of your things for giving you the idea. Okay. I don't know. Is that illegal? I don't know. If it is, if you look here down at the bottom of the page in that small print, that's my disclaimer. I'm not held responsible for anything that you learn in this class. Okay. So questions you can do for practice on this first one are 4, 5, and 7. And we'll talk a little bit more about the lottery. So knowing that it is a 1 in 14 million chance, and that's equivalent to like trying to flip a coin between 23 and 24 times and getting the same thing in a row, knowing that your chances of winning are minuscule, really, really tiny, should you play the lottery? Well, if you're playing the lottery because you need the money and need to win, don't. Keep your $2. If you need money, keep your $2, because that's $2 you have. If you buy a lottery ticket, you're going to lose that money, and it's going to be gone. However, if paying $2 gives you the fantasy of imagining all week, you're imagining, oh, what am I going to do with $50 million? And you just are smiling all week, imagining the nice pair of shoes you're going to buy, and you know, you're going to have your favorite supper of macaroni and cheese every night. If that gives you joy, if that fantasy gives you joy, then that $2, if that fantasy is worth $2 for you, then spend it. Because you will, all week you'll be, right? And then you know that whenever they do the draw on Friday or Thursday or whenever it is that you're not going to win, then that's okay. Because you've enjoyed that fantasy all week. And if you can't imagine that fantasy without spending the $2, because you have the ticket and that's where the excitement is, right? Then it might be worth it. Recently, I think it was in England, they changed it from Lotto 649 to Lotto 659. So now there's 59 numbers, you have to choose 6. What does that mean? That your chances of winning goes down. So it went from minuscule to minuscule, like really small. But if you're spending that $2 for, they added one thing, that if you get 2 numbers right, you get to play next week for free. So if your argument is that your $2 pays for your fantasy, the Lotto 659 is a better deal than the Lotto 649. Yeah, your chances of winning are less, but the prizes are bigger, so you get an even better fantasy than the Lotto 649. And you have a chance to play an extra, you can fantasize for free for a whole week if you get 2 numbers right. So it extends your excitement for a longer period of time. So maybe that is a good thing.